This is my first time camping in the wild and I'm very excited to be here. I'm currently in the western part of Ireland and so far it's very beautiful here. The sunset is just gorgeous. It was already an adventure to get here because our car got stuck in the sand. So yeah, luckily we got some help to get the car out again. So now we set up the tent and we're good for the night. I'm really excited for this adventure and I hope that you enjoy too and come along with me. And yeah, we'll see what awaits us. So this is our little spot for the night. We'll see how it goes. I'm very excited to wake up in the morning here and just see the ocean first thing in the morning and then yeah, have some breakfast. Tomorrow we want to go on some adventures, which is very exciting. For now I'm just gonna have some tea and I also brought my hot water bottle. Yeah, and maybe some dinner. So yeah, that's the plan for today.
Where the darkness has its home, there also lives the light. It can be found in ourselves and around us at all times. The magic in this world does not disappear, and by simply looking around, you will always be able to find a glimpse of it. No matter what is present for you at the moment, love is your core, and that will never change. No matter if life holds a lot of perceived good or bad things for you at the moment, either way, it's only temporary. On the one hand, it feels calming to know that, especially in situations that you don't want to last long. On the other hand, it reminds us that times that feel good are so precious and need to be enjoyed. Life constantly flows with all its ups and downs, creating a harmonic dance in a way, with one step back and one step forth, continuously changing turns. Although you play the main part in this dance, your feet aren't really directed by you. They rather listen to their own mind, rooted in the principle of life as a happening. While you might not be able to decide where your steps always go, you still have the power over the way you react to them, how steady your feet are, and how adaptive you can be to a new move.
I wish you could see how big and beautiful this moon is. It has such a reddish kind of color. It's almost like a blood moon. It's gorgeous.
Without saying it in a poetic way, life happens and you can't change anything about that. But in some ways you have the power over your reaction to it, or better, over what you make out of it. Challenges, unfortunate events, and unfolding pain are part of this human experience. In the business world, you would simply hire a manager to get these things under control and maybe even swipe them under the table. That amplifies the illusion that we even have control over these things. The truth is, we don't. Not more than we can stop the sun from rising or the wind from blowing. We cannot change nor control these things in life. Certain things are simply not meant to be controlled or changed by anyone. Though we can take actions to handle them in a healthy way that makes us feel better about them. And while I had some unfortunate events happening in my life recently, I wanted to share some things that support me on my journey with that. I remember a time when things got rocky in my life. I did too. The happenings in my life had a major influence on me, especially the challenging and painful ones. And while today those experiences still influence my feelings, they do not touch my core like they used to anymore. Nowadays, my feet are still on the ground. I'm capable of holding myself through it and won't get swept away into a hole. It took some time to get here, and while I talked about ups and downs at the beginning of this video, this journey was and still is exactly that. It feels like walking through the mountains here in Ireland, up and down. So what actually helped me to get to this point? I practiced to feel myself. Not my body, not my mind, but myself, my consciousness, my core. Through meditation, becoming quiet, being in nature and embodied movements, I connect with my center. I feel my heart space shining, especially in moments of silence. And meditation in any shape or form, no matter if you are standing, sitting, walking, observing, or sensing, eyes closed or open, is the gateway to feeling the self. Even being alone for a while and asking yourself, who am I behind these thoughts, without my body, makes you realize you are a source of consciousness. Once you connect to this feeling of self, you also know this part of you is always there, and that part of you is never changing. So it is your center that is untouchable, unshakable in its nature, and it's always there. The more you connect to this part of yourself, the more you cultivate a feeling of stability and safety inside. Whenever something unfortunate, painful, or challenging happens, then it is much easier to come back to that feeling of stability. Similar to a rock in the sea, the waves wash over you, and of course you feel them and their effects, but you're still stable and unshakable as a rock standing in the sea. So it's a rock-solid center that makes us resilient. From that point, it is easier to act and make conscious choices. Reduce the pain that you add on by yourself. You have the layer of pain that is caused by the happening itself, and then you have the layer of pain you add on yourself through negative self-talk, self-sabotage, or isolation, just to name a few. So we can choose to add on more pain or soothe it. I choose to take deep breaths to feel my center again, and to remind me of my unshakable nature in those situations. Also, I remember that I don't need to react instantly and can take my time to make decisions when I feel more capable of it. I give myself a hug and drink water to calm my body, and I try to stay real with myself, choosing supportive over fearful thoughts and asking myself, what do I really need right now? Oftentimes, the answer to that is just to feel it all. Like a storm running through me, I let it, and it will pass.
We
Also,
found
surround
some
yourself with love
friends.
in any way. People, space, nourishment, whatever feels good to you. Whenever guilt, shame, or anxiety come up, approach it in a loving way. Remember your feelings are valid, but don't define your worth in any way. And when you feel like you're slowly entering a cave with all that's going on, a change of wind is very helpful. Just go for a walk, change the scenery, or even go on an adventure far from what's familiar, like I did this time. It helps me to come back with a fresh perspective, since the distance I create by stepping away for a while results in a space for more clarity. This way, it's easier to reflect on the events and to come to acceptance with what has occurred. I always remember the ups and downs are part of the cycle of life, and if I forget, I just go into nature. Nature is a true haven you can always go to and emerge in without being judged for anything. Of course, everyone has different things that helps them with hardships, and time is also a healer in itself. But maybe some of my techniques will support you in any way.